Hey Buckley, welcome back to another video. Today we're tearing down the industry. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not quite as revolutionary as that, but I am going to be tearing into the bookish world a little bit. Now, this is not me coming for the community. I love the bookish community. It has been life-saving, life-changing. I have met some of my best friends because of the Bookternet. So this is not a diss at the Bookternet or the bookish community. It is a diss at how books are made, what is put or not put into a book, and those kinds of things. So this is not going to be me going over your regular discussions of reviewer spaces or of audiobooks books or any of those bits of garbage. If you want my opinions on those, reviews are for readers, not for authors. I'm not part of your marketing team. I am not part of your editing team. I'm a reader. I want other readers to be able to find books they want to read. Don't tag authors in reviews, even if they're good ones. Just don't do it. Audiobooks and graphic novels totally count as reading, and anyone who says otherwise can go fuck themselves. Book talk books are no less valid than any other form of reading. I think that covers the basics. So now let's actually get into some critiques that I have of the bookish world, of the publishing world, and the Bookternet. The first one I am going to talk about is one that I feel very strongly about. I had this run in a vlog and I cut it out because it was like 20 minutes long. So buckle up. That is extra chapters, extra endings, short stories, or whatever in only certain editions. Now, sometimes it's to make you buy an exclusive edition and it's completely irrelevant to the story. It's just like a little tidbit at the end, or like an alternate ending, like a almost deleted scene of, I had thought about ending it this way, but I didn't. I ended it this way. But you can read the alternate ending if you want to. Those I'm fine with. They don't really affect me. One, if you are going to put something that is necessary for the story, like for the series or whatever, only in exclusive editions, go fuck yourself. It's that simple. What do you mean? What do you mean I need to pay extra money to get these extra 10 pages? No, absolutely not. Two, if you put an extra short story in a revamped edition, you're telling me the people who went and bought special editions or the hardbacks or the first editions, they don't get this short story that you're literally using to rope people in to buy a new paperback. The bookish industry does not favor people who get there first. They constantly love to guilt you of, if you don't buy a book on new release, there's no guarantee the sequel will come out. Okay, fantastic. What rewards do I get for getting there first? Hardbacks? Okay, I don't like hardbacks. The edition that is probably going to change 17 times and I will never have matching books? No, thank you. I might get the hardback of the first one, but the second one's straight to paperback? No, thank you. I don't get any of the bonus content that all of these extra later editions are gonna get? No, thank you. What possible motivation do I have to get there first? To actually buy that first edition upon first release, those first batch of hardbacks that come out, where there's very little in the way of reviews, and a lot of the reviewers do feel compromised and need to give more positive rating than they're actually giving it. So unreliable reviews, so I don't know what I'm getting into. And then on top of it, there's no perks. Unlikely I will get a matching set. I'm paying more money because it's a hardback. What possible advantage is there to getting first? You are penalized for getting there first. Every time. They don't care about readers and collectors. They don't care if you get there first. They will guilt you to get you there first so that you'll pay money to keep this book series going, but they don't actually care about you as a reader. And that frustrates me. And these bonus chapter, special edition things only serve to highlight that. Some authors, they'll be like, oh, I'll put this in there. It's exclusive in there for a year, right? If you want to read that sooner, then you're going to have to buy this edition. If not, it'll be on my webpage in a year. That's bad enough, because again, you're still penalizing the people that got there first, that got in those first editions. Again, in the first editions, I also kind of understand it's an incentive to get you to buy the book. Sure. But in like reprints or special editions, you don't care about the people that were there to support you to begin with. The reason why you've got a special edition. You don't care. And then on top of that, yes, the ones that are like, oh, it's exclusive to this edition, you don't care about your readers. You care about money. And you wouldn't have money without those initial readers. Just saying. That annoys me to no end. Can you tell? I've talked for so long already. It annoys me. The next thing is similar in this like overt capitalism push that we have, is when you have to wait more than a year for a paperback release. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand the waiting year because of literally just timings for publishers. Like, they need to make sure they're getting everything in. They want to focus on the new releases before they start sending paperbacks out and all of that. I understand that's the thing. They want to sell up all of their hardbacks before they start putting out paperbacks. I get that. From a marketing standpoint, I get it. What do you mean I'm waiting 1.5 to 2 years for a paperback? I'm looking at you, Sarah J. Maas. What do you mean? Half the time they don't even list when the paperback is coming out. It's just, yeah. And the thing is that A, it annoys me on a capitalist level. B, on accessibility level. So for example, I know people who can't read hardbacks where it's just too much on the wrists. It's a lot on the wrists. Now granted, a lot of those people will then tend to be more Kindle readers. But there are people like me where my wrists aren't the best. They're not bad, but they're not the best. And like reading a hardback for a while, after a while, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Also, I just don't like reading hardbacks. I'm getting penalized for that. A, hardbacks are more expensive, so naturally they want you to buy them. But then it means that then people who are desperate to read this book have to compromise on either paying for something more expensive they don't have the money for, or compromising their health if it's, for example, something like holding a hardback is not good on your wrists. But then on top of that, a lot of the time, paperback and hardback collectors are not the same people. Unless it's a book you are so desperate to read, you'd rather just bite the bullet and buy the hardback. Hardback people tend to be more the collectors, or people who like early releases, or people who just prefer that bigger font. They're not the same people as paperback people. It's completely two different markets. So yeah, it always kind of confuses me a little bit when you're waiting more than a year. Again, I understand when we're doing it for about a year, where we're talking about buying a paperback a year after the hardback is released because of the time it takes to print, etc., wanting to use up those hardcovers first. All of that I completely understand. Anything past that, I don't understand, and it annoys me. This is one that is literally just for my little OCD soul, and that is books that don't come out in a standard size. So in the UK, we have a standard size paperback. Almost all of our mainstream big publishing house paperbacks are all the same size. You can see the few that you see here, they're all the same height. But there are books that either don't come out in paperback. There's a Joanne M. Harris one that I just don't think is ever going to come out in paperback, or like novellas that never come out in paperback. And then there are the ones that are from the other kinds of publishing companies, like the more indie press ones, that also only come out in like American size paperback. For example, so unfair. Like, I collect UK paperback. I like the size of UK paperbacks. So I want all of my books to be the same height, the same size. And it frustrates me to no end. You can't bring it out in standard size. I appreciate it's probably just because they've gone to a different printing house. But come on, what do you mean? So yeah, that annoys me. I like all of my books to be the same height. And then I've got just like a whole shelf of either hardbacks that won't come out in paperback or oddly sized paperbacks. And it annoys me so much. The next one I have is something that seems to bother a lot of people within the bookish community, not just me, but that is when we are mislabeling a subgenre, oftentimes for the sake of marketing. Now, to me, this is a terrible marketing decision, especially if you're doing series. When you take romantasy and you label it fantasy, or you take a fantasy with a bit of romance in it and you label it romantasy, you are pitching something to the wrong audience just because of trends. We have had fantasy with romance in it for time immemorial. There is romance in Lord of the Rings. Not much, but it's in there. Today's marketing teams, I swear, would take Lord of the Rings and just be like, that's romantasy because Aragorn and Arwen and everything. It's wrong. Because the whole point of these marketing labels, of these subgenres, the point of them was to find the right readers. The whole point for us to be able to be like, this is romantasy. We brought in more subgenres so that people could find the right things. We had fantasy, right? And if you go to anything prior to maybe 2010, fantasy will just get labelled fantasy, right? You'll take Aragorn, you'll get Tad Williams, and they're all lumped in with Tolkien. And then we started to bring in some more subgenres. We started to bring in darker fantasy. So then we brought in grimdark. We brought in romantasy because we brought in a bit more romance. And it was to help us find the right things. But now people just take a fantasy that's got like a tiny slither of romance in it, and they're like, romantasy because romantasy is popular. That's not going to make this book popular. Because if I pick up a book and I want to read a romantasy because I'm in the mood to read a romantasy, and then I read a book that has like 3 pages of romance in the entire thing, I am not going to want to read the sequels. How do people in marketing not know this? How do they not understand that mislabeling something is worse? Surely labeling something as fantasy instead of romantasy, even if romantasy is trendier right now, you're not going to lose readers if you label it fantasy. Yes, you might not gain as many from the get-go, but that doesn't mean that people are going to enjoy it. That means that people are not going to want to buy the sequel. It means that people who would enjoy it maybe haven't picked it up. It's very frustrating and it annoys me. Can you tell? The last one I'm going to talk about is one that does get talked about as well. It does get kind of shoved around the Booknet a little bit. It is one that I want to talk about though, and that is content warnings. Now, I personally am an avid believer in content warnings, and that content warnings should be amongst the front pages, kind of where you would get normally a table of contents, which we should be bringing back, or where you would get maybe like a dramatis personae or a map if you're reading fantasy, any of those. Just a quick, here's some content warnings. The thing is, if at the top of that page you very clearly put, this is the content warnings page, anyone who doesn't want content warnings can just not read. You can choose not to read those content warnings. But the author or the publishing house putting those things within the pages is important, because people should know what they're getting into. It's not difficult. And anyone who opposes it, where they're like, well, back in my day, okay, well done, Grandpa. Back in your day, you didn't know that smoking killed you, so we shouldn't put labels on cigarettes saying they're dangerous? Like, who does it hurt? Genuinely, I just want to know, like on a nice gentle basis, I just want to know if there's a content warning page in the book and you don't want a content warning page. Is it hurting you? Its existence? Does it bother you? Why does it bother you? Why can't you just not read that page and just go on to the next page? Just completely ignore its existence. Heck, if you really wanted to, you could rip the page out if that made you happy. I don't understand. The people that need it truly need it. The people who don't need it, it doesn't affect. When I look at a menu, I am not gluten intolerant. I am also not lactose intolerant. I can eat gluten and lactose to my heart's content. When I pick up a menu in a restaurant and it's got those little symbols that tell you if it's got gluten or lactose in it, at no point am I raging against the restaurant saying, these awful, terrible people letting people with severe dire allergies know that the things they're allergic to that could cause them physical harm are within these foods. At no point has that happened to me. I've just gone, lucky me, that doesn't affect me in the slightest. Or even better, just don't even notice them. I don't even process or register them. It's the same with content warnings. You might not need them. That's fantastic. Just don't read them. Ignore their existence. But the people who do need them really freaking need them. And I don't understand people's rage at this whole existence of content warnings. They can spoil a book. And it's like, okay, so is it affecting you? Just me? I don't understand. And this level of main character energy of like, I don't need content warnings and I think they're spoilery, and therefore I think no one else should have them, is bonkers to me. Absolutely bonkers. And again, something that I get very ragey about. So this is arguably the ragiest one of these videos. I'm very sorry. But they're things that I wanted to get off my chest. They're things that I feel strongly about. So let me know what are some things within the Booknet and the bookish community and the publishing world that you find irksome, that you find annoying, irritating. I don't think there's a huge amount I can ask you to add. So yes, just let me know what are the things that bother you within these. Or if you disagree with me, I suppose, on any of these opinions, I can have a respectful disagreement with anyone who wishes to, I suppose. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on any of these things. And that is all from me for today. So thank you ever so much for watching, and I will hopefully catch you in another one soon. Bye!